This is part 5 of a 7-part series on continuing the conversation about the proposed rewrite of Article 2 of the Unitarian Universalist Bylaws. In part 5, we will look at the failed attempts to amend the proposal during General Assembly last June. But first, let's look at your role in this process.
Right before General Assembly last June, the UUA Board of Trustees urged the delegates to preliminarily approve the Article 2 proposal, so we can continue the conversation. We are expected to study it for a year, and then have a final vote at General Assembly in June of 2024. It only took 50% to get preliminary approval, but it needs 67% to be approved for final adoption.
Some of us have a lot of questions we need answers to before that vote at General Assembly in June. So, let's have those conversations.
As was just mentioned, the National Unitarian Universalist Association has proposed a major rewrite of our principles and sources in Article 2 of the UUA bylaws. At General Assembly last June, they gained approval to forward an amended proposal to the congregations. The delegates forwarded it to us to continue the conversation about whether to approve this rewrite when the final vote is taken at General Assembly in June.
Now is the time for us to step up to the plate. Everyone is encouraged to help evaluate this proposal.
The democratic process is not just about voting. It's about analyzing different points of view to make an informed decision.
Our job is to anticipate how each word and phrase will affect UU, then decide whether this transformation is wise and prudent.
Our congregation's job is to help each of us help make this decision,
by making sure we have ample opportunities to be exposed to all points of view. We want to give you a little more background on the amendment process Article 2 went through at General Assembly last June.
It was clear that some delegates at General Assembly had the same concerns some of us do.
But it was also clear that the Article 2 Commission is really confident that this transformation is what UU needs.
UU delegates have a history of going along with what the UUA recommends.
That was the pattern when delegates voted on proposed amendments to the Article 2 proposal at General Assembly.
If the Commission spoke against an amendment, it was decisively rejected. If the Commission was silent, the amendment passed.
We're going to show you a graph of this. We think it shows the influence the Commission had on the voting is very clear. If the Article 2 Commission did not speak against an amendment, the delegates voted decisively in favor of the amendment. But if the Commission spoke against an amendment, the delegates voted no by a large margin. Most of the amendments that were rejected were aimed at fixing some of the issues we are concerned about. But the Commission did not want those issues fixed.
An amendment to add a new section to keep a list of the historic principles was opposed by the Commission. And sure enough, 73.6% of the delegates voted against keeping a list of the current principles in the bylaws. An amendment to put the list of 6 sources of inspiration back into Article 2 was opposed by the Commission and only got 11.3% yes votes. An amendment to restore a firm commitment to individual freedom of belief was opposed by the Commission. A co-chair of the Commission spoke against an amendment to fix the accountability statement, and it was rejected. An amendment to bring back the wording of the first principle to affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person was opposed by the Commission. An amendment to replace the caveat, "who share our values," in the inclusion section, which appears to limit who we truly welcome, was opposed by the Commission. An amendment that would remove the dictate to repair harm and damaged relationships in the interdependence value was not opposed by the Commission, and so it passed, with 78.4% voting yes. Okay, wait a minute. This actually fixed one of the ambiguous phrases that we have been very concerned about. And the Commission did not intercede. And it passed. But a few minutes ago when we showed the proposed values, this phrase was in there. What gives? We think this is important enough to spend a minute on. Here is how the proposed interdependence value was worded before General Assembly. Here is the amendment to the interdependence value that was proposed and voted on. Here is how the UUA showed what was inserted in the green font and what was deleted in the red font with the strike-through line. Note that the amendment deleted the entire last line. In October of 2023, the Article 2 Commission revealed their final revision, which incorporated all of the amendments that had passed at General Assembly in June. Almost every amendment was incorporated exactly the way the amendment had been worded. except for the amendment to interdependence. Here was the way the UUA had said it would look, showing what was inserted in green and what was going to be deleted in red if the amendment passed. So it did pass with 78% of the vote. But here is how the Article 2 Commission chose to incorporate the amendment. Basically, they kept the new words the amendment inserted. Those are the words in green near the bottom. But, and this is very unexpected, they did not remove the words that the amendment had deleted. They kept almost all of their original words. Those are the words in purple. Most importantly, they reinserted the line that says we will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. That is the one that we are concerned about because it could mean almost anything. Remember, these are covenants we are agreeing to. These are not aspirations anymore. It is obvious that those words are very important. Otherwise, the Commission would not have ignored the will of the delegates and added back in the words that the General Assembly delegates had approved being deleted. We need to know more about what goals the UUA has that make those words so important. And we need to take note that this might be what an inclusive democratic process looks like. If the UUA disagrees with the delegate decision, the vote of the delegates doesn't count. That is not democracy as we know it.
I want to show you this graph one more time. The red bars are the amendments the Commission spoke against. The green bars are the ones the Commission did not oppose. The delegates did not vote against the Commission on any amendment. The point is that the UUA actively resisted attempts to fix some of our major concerns. Our choice is very simple. Yes or no to the whole rewrite.
Be sure to watch Part 6, where we will tackle, head-on, the question we hear so often. Why does this matter to us? Deciding what UU is going to be about is in our hands. Now is the time to continue the conversation. Let's be wise and prudent caretakers of this religion.